every disappointment is a blessing in disguise. Once upon a time, there lived a very kind and a beautiful princess named Princess Omolade. Princess Omolade is very generous, giving to both the rich and the poor. The villagers loved her so much, except her stepmother, who is the queen of the village, and her half-sister, Princess Aderemi. No matter how good she presents herself before the queen sees Princess Omolade as a rival. For Princess Omolade's mother passed away while she was still very little, and this made the king to remarry. Shalewa became the queen, but Queen Shalewa lived in rivalry with Princess Omolade. Princess Omolade only has a grandmother. She always confides in her, and her grandmother will encourage her and give her words of wisdom. One day, the news of a powerful and wealthy prince coming for the eldest daughter hand in marriage spread through the village. For Prince Adewale, a very benevolent ruler, heard of Princess Omolade's kind heart. But when Queen Shalewa heard that the prince from a neighboring village is coming for the princess hand in marriage, her anger grew. So she went to the king. Kábíyèsí, why must you always favor Princess Omolade over my daughter? Why can't Princess Aderemi be the wife to Prince Adewale? The queen was angry. The king replied, but it is tradition that the eldest daughter gets married first, and Princess Omolade is the eldest. But Queen Shalewa wants Prince Adewale for her daughter, for she heard that the prince is very wealthy and a benevolent man. So the queen went to the king's mother. For whatsoever the king's mother tells the king will do. But as the queen poured out her rage to the king's mother said to her, ever since you have come into this palace, you have lived in rivalry with Princess Omolade. Stop this your jealousy and hatred, or else what? Queen Shalewa flared up and left angrily. That night, as Princess Omolade slept, she had a terrifying dream, for she saw the queen wearing a black cloth and pouring a black substance on her body. She started screaming from her dream, and soon her scream woke the entire palace. The king ran to Omolade's room, but he couldn't enter, for the odor that comes from Omolade's room was terrible. The king became very worried, so he called the great chief priest, but the chief priest could not proffer a solution to Princess Omolade's mysterious body odor. So the king secretly sent her out of the palace and built a tall wall round her, and Princess Omolade was kept in isolation. No one could approach her except one courageous man. Ogunlana is a young man who had traveled from an unknown village, settled down with the chief priest to learn the wisdom from the gods and the words of divination. When the chief priest told him about Princess Omolade's mysterious illness, he was moved with compassion, for only him will enter into Princess Omolade's place and give her food. When the queen heard, she laughed and went to the king. Now that your eldest daughter smells so bad, I heard the odor is so offensive that you had to keep her in isolation. So who will marry Prince Adewale? I guess Princess Aderemi. For her beauty alone will melt the heart of the prince. So Princess Aderemi was presented before Prince Adewale as the eldest daughter of the royal home, and a wedding day was fixed. When Princess Omolade heard of the news of the upcoming wedding, she wept bitterly. But Ogunlana stood beside her, consoling her and saying, for every disappointment is a blessing in disguise. Take heart, my princess. The wedding day came. It was a grand ceremony. They celebrated and danced. The queen was very happy. But as Princess Remi got to her new home, the prince's palace, fright descended upon her, for Princess Adewale's palace looked more like a cage. Soon, he asked Princess Remi to take off her clothes and to lean closer to the wall, and Prince Adewale picked a whip. He moved closer to her and said, "I've heard of your enduring spirit, Princess Omolade. You endured your stepmother rivalry. I need a woman who can endure the beast nature in me. I'm tired of keeping my female servant quiet. I need a woman like you in my life." He picked her up from the floor and pushed her to the wall. He then gave her a good beating of her life. After he was done, he put some golden jewelries on her and gave her lots of golden coins. What they did not know about the prince is that behind his benevolent act lived a monster. Not that he was cursed, but as Prince Adewale grew up, he grew into a strange addiction of beating women, for he found pleasure in it. As a way of curtailing it, his father would secretly send female servants to him. But whenever the female servants couldn't keep up with the abuse, they would secretly eliminate the maid. So the next day, Princess Remi went back to her mother. She opened up to her mother and showed her mother the bruise inflicted upon her by the prince. But Queen Shalewa fears the shame that such revelation would bring upon her. So she quietly sent her daughter back to the prince's palace. It is expected of a woman to endure marriage. Go and carry your cross. Her mother's word echoed in her mind. Alone in her chamber, Queen Shalewa became very worried and sad. So, that was the reason why the prince wanted to marry Princess Omolade. I was such a fool, carried away because of his wealth. So she said to herself, I shall cure Princess Omolade of her body odor and announce that the prince married the wrong princess. Then I shall make Princess Omolade to marry Prince Adewale, for he shall beat her to death. So that night, Princess Omolade saw the queen again in her dream, putting her in the rain, letting the rain wash away the black substance from her body. When she woke up, tears of joy flowed down her cheek. From Princess Omolade is free from any offensive body odor. So she went to her grandmother. When her grandmother saw her, her grandmother hugged her. Princess Omolade, the grandmother cried in joy. As the palace celebrates the miraculous healing of Princess Omolade, the king shouted in pain, for the news of Princess Aderemi committing suicide has gotten to the king's hearing. For Princess Aderemi had hung herself. No! The queen cried in pain, forgetting the warning of the old magician when she had gone back again, that the old magician should undo the dark magic that made Princess Omolade to smell, and he should make Princess Omolade to fall irresistibly in love with Prince Adewale. But the old magician gave her a warning. For the day tears drop from your eyes, it shall turn black, and from that moment all enchantments shall be broken, and you shall smell horribly till the end of your life. But the queen, pained by the death of her only child, started crying, and at that moment something strange happened, for her tears were black in color, dropping from her face onto her body, and that is how Queen Shalewa started smelling. When they heard of all the evil she had committed, the king sent her away and banished her from the village. So Queen Shalewa left, never to return again. Soon, the villagers learned that Ogulano came from the lineage of powerful warriors. With the guardian of the gods, he became a very powerful warrior, and as commanded by Princess Omolade, Ogulano captured Prince Adewale and brought him before the king, where he paid for his crime. Then Ogulano married Princess Omolade. Indeed, do not be discouraged because of disappointment. Remember, it could be a blessing in disguise. The end.